we are live now on YouTube as well. And this session henceforth is being recorded for future reference. Okay, so coming back to your screen to continue where I was, what I was talking about. So when it comes to Bitnest, what happens is that they create this bank or financial platform for you where you put your money to work. And in this case, when the money goes to work, the interest or the profit that are generated using your funds actually comes to you without any middleman. It's a smart contract that self-executes, right? Smart contract simply means sets of rules, agreement we put together and allow it to self-execute. For instance, if let's say you own a house, I have money, you need money, I need a house, I want to buy your house, you need my money. I can call you by phone under normal circumstances, or like we do, and say, look, Jerry, I really want to buy your property, and if you are open up for business, yes, these are my bank details, and send them money. And even in the physical business world, a lot of people won't take such chances. What they do is they look for middlemen who stand in between the buyer and the seller to ensure that nobody takes advantage of the other. So let's say I am the buyer, and I decided to blindly trust whoever is selling, and I transfer, let's say if it is $1 million, I transfer the money to this gentleman who still have access to his house and his document. How on earth will I go chasing him? What if he takes the money and goes away? So it doesn't create that fairness. However, what we normally do in the physical world is we get a betweener or a middleman who will execute this contract. What is the contract? If the owner of the house provides the key and the document to the house, and I also provide the money, all of us provide to this middleman. The middleman, now, if we do this, then the transaction happens. Middleman now takes the contract and the key, or the document and the key, hands it over to me, handing my money over to the person so that nobody takes advantage of the other. It is the same thing that happens here. The only difference is that this is automated. So the contract says maybe if you put money into maybe the savings box or the Bitnest loop for so and so days, this is what should happen. When the day comes, you don't have to request for it, you don't have to beg for it, you don't have to click anything. This money majestically walks back into your wallet. And guys, I'm not saying your account, but your wallet. So let's look at how it actually works in detail. There are two main products most of us here are very, very comfortable with. The first one is Bitnest Loop. When it comes to Bitnest Loop, it's a smart contract that yields certain fixed returns for you over a period of time, right? Simply put, you want to put your money into maybe this smart contract for a day, 7 days, 14 days, and 28 days. And each day gives you certain specific returns. So let's say, for instance, I have just $100 and I want to put into a contract for, let's say, 1 day, right? At the end of 24 hours from me taking this contract, you realize that my $100 returns to me, but not just $100 this time around. There's an extra $0.4 added to it because my money has been put to work for the next 24 hours. Now, if I decide to also put it in there for like 7 days, that turns out, to be even greater, comes with $4 extra or 4% extra for the next 7 days. And at the end of the day, I don't need to go beg any admin to approve or do anything. This money automatically returns to your wallet. Then you have 14 days, that gives you 9.5%. And you have 28 days, that gives you unbelievably 24%. Now, let me tell you something. Even what you yield in 14 days will take certain banks up to 2 years to even give you up to that 9% of your savings. They keep your money, or you invest in your bank, you keep your money there for a year. At the end of the year, they give you 2 to 3, 4, 5%, and they expect you to clap for them. So if you have a decentralized platform that actually puts your money to work, and then make sure that there are no middlemen, there are no secretaries to be paid, there are no drivers, there are no security men, there are no cashiers, tellers, and all that to be paid, it brings back the entire profit into your hand, right? So at the end of the period, these funds automatically works to your hand. But then let's look at what exactly where do they get all those money from? And I mentioned earlier on that this project has been running for years. And if yes, then I know what you are thinking. 24% in 28 days. How sustainable is it? Where do they get the money from? And that is where I want to label or focus tonight's presentation on. First of all, a lot of people go about telling people, well, they stake on liquidity. They provide liquidity pool on Pancake Swap, and that makes them money. Now, let me set the ball straight. We, as the providers of the funds or the investors, are just one part of the community. The Bitnest community is made up of two sets of people who are seeking to put their spare USDT into work, and those people who are also willing to borrow people's spare USDT and put it to work. So it is lending and borrowing platform, exactly what your banks do. That has been put into a decentralized form, right? Into a decentralized form with no middleman, a smart contract, fully renounced. Don't worry, I'll take you there tonight. I want to have time for you and make sure you understand this once and for all, right? Now, let's say, for instance, I am, let's say, seeking to borrow from the platform. Most of us, we've not taken time to kind of analyze, how the funds are generated. So, for instance, let's say I want to borrow, let's say $100,000, right? The first thing that will be coming to your mind is, what if I borrow this money? What's the guarantee that I'll pay? How sure are they that I'll take the money and pay? In fact, somebody came to me the other day and say, Jerry, I think I have found how Bitnest is really going to scam people. I said, yes, tell me. He said, well, I think that they are going to pose themselves as the people who are actually, taking the loans, and then they will drain our money and then come back and report to us that, look, those who took the loan didn't pay. It was funny. It was just like listening to your 2-year-old daughter, trying to explain something it was so funny to me. And of course, in as much as this gentleman has reason to believe that, I believe that reason was just born out of what he didn't know. Right? So let's say I want to borrow on the other side. I want to borrow, let's say, $100,000, right? I first of all need to pledge or put a crypto asset as a collateral. Now, the big question is, why would I want to put an asset down to borrow assets? How does that make sense? Then I want to also follow up with a big question. Why would you want to put your house down as a collateral to take money from the bank? You could have actually also sold the house. You could have sold your house and then raise the money. Why do business people use their property to acquire loans from the bank? It's just like asking. So in this case, we have people who have BTC or Ethereum, and they really don't want to let go of their position. Mind you, we are dealing with what we call a stable coin, which is the USDT and the USDC, which doesn't fluctuate in value, right? These figures don't fluctuate. It always remains $1. One USDT is always $1, right? Now, Let's say I own BTC. BTC is currently trading at $117,000. Now, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. I can decide to trade in my BTC today and then wake up tomorrow and BTC is boom, maybe 150,000 or even 200,000. I do not want to lose or miss out on that fly. Rather, let's say I just need maybe $50,000 to turn something around. Maybe I'm a forex trader. I have seen a setup, proper confirmation that is about to happen, and I'm so sure I'm going to win this trade. Then I'm like, okay, let me use my BTC as a collateral to take some $50,000 to go and trade, right? And then at the end of the day, I will pay back. Before I even tell you what happens, here are the terms. I want to minimize here so we understand this portion very carefully. Why? Because I need you to know the reason why Bitnest has been able to, a minute, I'm trying to push this thing down. Okay, sorry. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, we are back on. I am looking for this share. I'm coming. Please bear with me. Okay, so we are back here. Now, when I decide to take this loan, smart loan from Bitnest, first of all, I don't need any KYC. I don't need to prove any credit record. I don't need to go through some kind of screening like it happens in the traditional world. All I need to do is to provide the collateral security in the form of either BTC or Ethereum, and then admit that I want to abide by this rule. What are the rules? The asset user must repay their own on their own before their rental period ends. What it simply means that if I take a contract, let's say I came to borrow funds from business community, and I said I want to use it for 7 days, right? Now, when the period is about to end, I am required to make payment on my own or repayment on my own before the time elapses. Now, failure to do that means that they have an auto liquidation system that will automatically sell off your BTC, which is being held in escrow. It will mean that when the time reaches and you fail to pay before time, the smart contract will automatically swap your BTC into USDT, right? And then deduct exactly how much you're supposed to pay. If there are excesses, and of course, there will always be excesses because they do not allow you to borrow up to how much you put in. In fact, you can only borrow only up to 75% of what you are setting down as collateral. Let me explain that. Let's say I put one BTC down and it's going for $100,000. The system will allow me to borrow at least up to $75,000. And then with the added interest and everything, if I fail to pay on time, the system will automatically, sell off my BTC holdings, which is held in an escrow, and then return your money, which was lended out to me, right? And I wanted to also touch on one more thing, the rules. There's something very important I would like to touch on before we move. Now, where is this? Where is this? Give me 1 minute. Okay, let me read these things out very quickly. One, if you want to rent or to borrow money from, you wish to enter the amount you want to pledge. Let me go back. I think this will make it a bit complex. Let me go back a bit. Wanted to make something very simple before, but that's fine. So let's say I want to lease, like I said, $100,000. for 7 days. Now, once I click on 7 days, and let's say I'm going to use BTC. I'm coming. Oh, come on. Give me 1 minute, please. I don't know why this is not calculating for me. Mostly, when you put how much you wish to lend, is my wallet connected? Yes. When you enter how much you wish to borrow, it automatically calculates how much you must pay in BTC. It states it here for you to borrow or for you to set aside before you access this loan. Why is it important? Is because these loans are risk-free. So you put something down to access this loan and use them to go and do your business. And the rule is that at least on daily basis, you pay about 1.5%, returns or interest for using these funds to work. So let's say I am a forex trader, right? And I see a setup. Forex traders can even flip, especially with a very good capital, can easily make 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30% in a day or two or per trade. So I'm so sure my setup was going to work. I risk my BTC as a collateral to access your USDT to put to trade, and then come back and pay 1.5% per day. So now you go back to the loop and you ask yourself, if I put, let's say, $100 for 28 days, I'm making 24%. So you want to divide 24% by 28 days, that gives you 0.85%, right? Which means that the smart contract actually puts your money to work to generate, 1.5% daily, and they pay you 0.85% daily. So that explains why you realize that with time, the entire liquidity pool or the safety basket of this whole thing keeps increasing. I remembered when I decided to say yes to Bitnest, liquidity pool was around 15 to 16 million dollars. That was when I decided to jump in somewhere in February thereabout. Fast forward to July ending, close to July ending, we, instead of seeing this money reduce, we rather seeing a continual increase in this value. Now you may be wondering, what does this figure really stands for? All it stands for is the total funds we have, like a safety pool of fund where all of us are feeding from, right? And if you put in money, it goes into this pool. If it is paying you, it pays you from this pool. One more thing, when you put this money to work, first of all, apart from the fact that they give out your money as loan or lend it out to people who pay back returns, in days where there are it's not every time you see people coming around to borrow, and there could be excess. So instead of leaving this excess to sit, the team decided that they will create and provide liquidity on PancakeSwap. So PancakeSwap liquidity is just an additional source of revenue to add up to what they do. So the business doesn't pay raw Peter to pay Paul. And of course, if you want to confirm, maybe you are new, you are asking, this figure, is it not just something anybody updated on the website? Well, I'm sorry, what you see here is real figure that displays on the blockchain. And if you click on it, it will take you out of the site, takes you straight to the BSC scan, which is the Binance Smart Chain scan, for you to look or verify. So we are now leaving the website of Bitnest, and we are now going straight into the blockchain. And this is the liquidity pool smart contract address of Bitnest, right? And as we speak now, these are the funds contained in this wallet here, right? These are the funds here. You have USDT, USDT here, about 25 million. You have USDC here, about 7.2 million, all adding up to what you see here. And at this point, we are no more in Bitnest domain, right? Now, if I also want to take you a little bit in to show you the transactions happening on this particular wallet, look at it, 8 seconds ago, 11 seconds ago, 14 seconds ago. It's a very busy smart contract. Very, very, very busy smart contract, right? And this is the original smart contract of Bitnest. When the liquidity pool contract receives funds, like you see here, when it takes it in, it takes it out and then puts it into its main contract. So tonight, in order not to waste your time, I would like us to, first of all, check the validity of this contract, the safety, how safe this contract is. Let's go together to let's go to a site I love so much called DeFi Scanner. This site is an external auditor. They have what it takes to look into smart contracts to prove and to show you whether the smart contract is safe, whether it has been properly renounced, whether the admins, the creators of this smart contract still have access to this in order to, rug and all that. So what we're going to do now is to just paste the contract address of Bitnest. Guys, look at it. And upon pasting it, you see the name Bitnest popping up on DeFi. Now, DeFi is in no way affiliated to Bitnest. This is an independent, security auditing firm. What we want to do now is to ask them about how safe they consider this smart contract. And there you have it. Look at the safety score. Let me zoom in so that we can all see. Look at the safety score there. 97% ratings for the Bitnest smart contracts. And not all that. We can also go on further to look at other findings they may have seen. And now, first of all, let me state this. When somebody gives you a smart contract, right? Every smart contract has its own address, right? And then you also have access to the contract creator, right? Now, what matters most in this case is the contract owner. Why? Because you can create a contract, but you may end up not being the owner of the contract after you renounce it or after you give up the rights to modify and edit and all that from it. So what you want to look at first is to check if there's an address here for the contract owner. And if you see an address here, like in this form, what it simply means is that whoever owns that wallet address actually have what it takes to come into this contract it's just like having the key to the contract and then can open this door, enter, change things in the room, and then lock it back. But thankfully, when the contract is renounced, you see right here that it goes to what we call the dummy wallet, the dump account, the now wallet, which is owned by nobody, which means that the owners of this contract cannot come back or reclaim ownership of this contract. So let's look at some of the things they have seen. No vulnerable withdrawal functions found, no reentrancy risk found, no logs detected. All these things, contract cannot be upgraded. So if you are here and you're new thinking, what if we join this and then tomorrow they come up to say, we promise to pay 24%, but the consumption of equity is leading to something. They come up with all those jargons to give you excuses and reasons. What if they do same to us? The good news is that this contract cannot be upgraded. What it means is that it has been sealed, signed, and delivered, right? And we go on and on to find out, all their discoveries about this smart contract to tell you how safe it is. And look at it. No retrievable ownership found. There are people who can renounce contract and still find a way of retrieving their ownership as a part of the written code. In this smart contract, nothing of that nature exists. and they keep checking, no previous scams by the owner's wallet. So even if you're a scammer before and you went to create another contract, trust the blockchain, it was going to expose you and all that. So you see all these features telling you that you are actually dealing with a very, very safe, smart contract. Now, this is just one person's opinion. I want to take you to another end. The biggest firm when it comes to security or checking smart contracts, which is what we call CERTIC. When we are talking about CERTIC, we are talking about the big boys in smart contract. In fact, there are so many brands that that rely on their services, their expertise. And on your screens, you see all these top brand. Even if you are new to crypto, you don't know anything about crypto, at least you know Samsung, right? If you are so new to crypto, you are not so much related to, at least you know Apple. These are brands that rely heavily on the security expertise of CERTIC. So what I want us to do this evening is let's go to CERTIC and find out. There's a claim on Bitnest website saying that CERTIC has actually audited their smart contracts. I'm coming. Okay, there you have it. Here. So let's see what CERTIC actually have to say about their smart contract. And I'm more concerned about what we call the centralization overview. Why? Because one, if a program will come to an abrupt end, it has a key role to play. When the owners have access to the entire contract, they can manipulate it, they can stop it, they can upgrade it, they have their hands in the liquidity pool. Once they build enough funds, what do? They pack up and they leave. But then let's look at I'm coming. Give me 1 minute. Let's look at what CERTIC is saying. It says when it comes to centralization, there are 4 key areas they are looking out for. Whether they have their hands in the distribution, no. Whether they can upgrade this contract, no. Whether they have some privileges, no. Whether they have any other access or any other rights at all behind the scenes, no. So all these things goes a long way to tell you that, look, the owners of this smart contract really decided to create it and leave their hands off. But let me say this. When this smart contract was brought to CERTIC for verification, it wasn't that clean. In fact, there were four issues they found, and then they made some recommendations, which I want to take you into briefly so you understand where and how far this whole smart contract thing has come. Why is it important? It is important because, one, if they ignore these security findings, one, it could mean that they have agenda that they wish to pursue. Now, first of all, there's a feature called default admin role, which has authority in the original smart contract as has authority over any other security settings. What it simply means is that the default admin role gives the owners certain access or certain powers to do certain things on their own. And so when the smart contract was scanned, it was brought to their notice and said that, look, with this feature, it doesn't make it safe. Why? Because, one, you, the owner, may not have the intention of maybe scamming your people, but you can easily also become a target of scammers. I mean, if somebody wants to hack into your system and they don't have access, they can hack you, and then gain access. So they are advised that, look, to make the contract safe, they need to get rid of that role. And then also they have an authenticated role, which is called the operator role, which also have features into the loop, have some powers over certain settings into the loop, into the balance and the liquidity thereof. And they advise that in order to make this safe, they gave them 3 different suggestions. One was just the short-term solution, asking them to use time lock and multi-signature. And then they have the long-term solution. They should add time lock and DAO. I'll be going into DAO in a bit. and then to ensure unauthorized access and all that. And then they also suggested a permanent, solution that renouncing the ownership or removing the function can be considered as fully resolved. Right? Now, at the end of the day, they decided to renounce the smart contract. They decided to choose the permanent approach by renouncing the smart contract and never claim back the privileges role or removing this feature. At the end, the team decided to renounce this role and the issue was resolved. What proof do we have that they actually did that? Here is a link to that particular transaction where the ownership of this contract was renounced. I'm coming. Let me take you back a bit. Now look at it. What was the call? Revoke this role. Revoke this role, buy their liquidity pool contract on the actual contract, and this role has been cancelled, which means that they gave up on their rights and access to this contract to upgrade it, to change something about it. And here is the chain that leads to it. Now, why am I sharing all this with you? I'm sharing this to you so you know that what you are dealing with is not just any, so-called smart contract that has been renounced. A lot of projects out there will tell you, oh, our contract has been renounced. You put them through this same test and you realize that they are fumbling. You put it out there and you see all the red lights, all the poor ratings they have. But if you have these top security firms confirming the authenticity and the security of Bitnest smart contracts, wouldn't you rather take that? And of course, why would you want to take it? Because one, these are top professionals. Two, whatever they say, you and I can equally confirm that on the blockchain, and that makes it even more easier, right? So this is the opportunity you are being invited to. You may be having question as a new member. What happens if I put my money in and like any other site, the website decides to go off? What happens to your money? That's a good question. Let me answer it before you ask it. Let me answer it before you ask it, because I know if you're a new member, you're definitely going to ask. What it simply means is that one, the node or the smart contract of Bitness doesn't run on the website. It runs on the blockchain. The website is only a window through which you can interact with the smart contract. You know where to click and where to put your money. It gives you that room to know I am selecting, just take it as the laptop I'm using for this presentation, right? Assuming that the laptop is blank, it doesn't have screen. I can be pressing the keys, but I wouldn't know what is happening in there, right? But once I have the screen, it guides me on what you are clicking on and what it's leading you up to, right? So that is just the website. So the website opens up that mirror or that window for you to know what you are clicking. However, the entire operations happens on the blockchain. That is why at the end of the day, the funds hit your account, your wallet, not your account on Bitness. I was telling you about setting up. I didn't mention about putting a username or putting a password and stating your country, doing a KYC and all that. No. All it needs is a wallet, a self-custodial wallet or a Web3 wallet, which supports the Binance Smart Chain. And then you connect the wallet and interact with the smart contract. When the time is up for your money to hit your account, the money comes straight to your wallet and not to the website. So that is to mean that even if you put in your money and they decide to shut the website today, the worst thing that will ever happen to you is you will not be able to put in other money because, of course, you don't have the visuals to know what you are clicking on. So you may not be able to participate. But the funds that are running on a node in a blockchain will eventually hit your wallet at the end of the day. And that is just the beauty of what we have here. thing has been going on and on. Our community keeps increasing. We keep growing by numbers. If you check the website, for instance, we are currently heading close to 2 million. Let me go down there and share these statistics with you. Okay, let me share these stats with you to see how amazing this community is. As we speak so far, over $400 million have been paid, and all these payment proof are available. We are currently a little bit over 70,000 more to hit 2 million participants, from which we have over 422,000 and counting dollars paid out so far, and it's still going. Guys, this is is the generation of new things about to happen. You may have missed, it's just like those days when the idea of blockchain came up, and people say, well, we are bringing up something that is going to disrupt every aspect of the economy we know. And a lot of people say, you guys are damn crazy. You have no idea of what you're talking about. But the few who believed in it and jump on today, they are the bankrollers. They are the millionaires of the era. And this is another form of that revolution, right? Targeting the banking and finance world. Now, those of you who have been following development on crypto, you heard President Trump recently, in his address, he said, well, the Bitnest, the blockchain movement seems to be creating another industry on its own. For me, I was very much attentive to the choice of words, industry, and he's so much scared that if countries like US do not position themselves well, they could be taken by surprise. And now he's making sure he makes sure US doesn't miss what is about to happen. So all these things building about, all is because now, if you know platforms like Bitnest, would you be so much eager to rather go and put your money at a bank, wait for 2 years to receive 2% or 1%, when you can actually, anyway, it's not a financial advice, but it's a question you would definitely ask yourself. And so as you are listening, more and more people are joining. The community is expanding. You check our Telegram group, and you'll be amazed the number of people in there. I just realized that just last month, we were about 120,000. As we speak now, we are close to 200,000 people. And ever since I joined this community, they don't close their chats. Chats are always open. You can jump in there right now, ask anything. Nobody blocks you, nobody kicks you out, nobody is hostile to you. And you just think about it. A community of over 200,000 people. And you read through the charts, you can devote your whole day, read through the charts, and you don't see any single complaint. Nobody has ever complained of, my time has passed, and there's no fans, or my fans fail to arrive on time. This is the opportunity you are being invited to. Now, even if you do not understand it at all, do not let your story be like mine. Don't wait for several months and then come back and say, I remember he invited me, and then one guy wearing some funny hats called Jerry was going on and on and on about things I did not understand and I failed to do. Don't let that be your story. No matter how you do it, thankfully, even in Bitness, as little as $1, you can involve yourself. Even with $1, you can create in fact, I think I need to create a loop so that you understand how exactly it works. Thank God I'm connected to my demo wallet. Awesome. So let's say in this demo wallet so far, every time I get a chance to do, presentation, I take one, look at it. A while ago this morning, on a presentation, I had to take a new order. So as I'm here, let me just use this. For instance, I can decide to just put maybe $1 and say, well, I want to put this $1 in for 28 days. The smart contract will not say, you are so broke and we don't deal with broke guys. and this is reserved for certain class. No, you can actually go ahead and create as little as $1. So you don't need to break your bank to be part of the Bitness community, guys. No matter how little you can, try and start engaging with a smart contract. So let's say maybe for the purpose of this video, let me just put maybe $10, for instance, and in the next 28 days, I expect to receive 12 points, $4, hit on circulation, and boom, it goes to work, you know. Okay, come in. Okay, so successfully, I've just, created a new loop. Let's look at it. There you have, give me 1 minute. Okay, it's coming up. There you have it here. So you see a timer, counting down here, showing that in the next 27 days, 11 hours, these seconds, I am expected to receive my $12.4, right? At the end of the day, I don't need to come here requesting for it. It to automatically drop. In fact, let me scroll down and see. I think I have so many of these things just for demonstrating. So look at, oh, unfortunately, I have 11 hours more on this to go. And in the next 11 hours, this money is coming back to this wallet. And that is how easy it is. And if you look on your screen, you don't see millions. This as little as $1, you can actually put it to work. So be part of the community. Don't just sit. Don't say no, I don't understand, and I want to understand everything before I do. No. So this is the opportunity you are being invited to. I would like to pause here for a minute and pave way for questions if you have any. I would really love to answer them and then make sure I set you through. So if you have, okay, there's a question here for me. Jerry, can you address concerns about compliance in the US and fixed returns? Awesome, awesome, Derek. Now, here's the good part of it, right? So in every decentralized system where there are no owners, there are no companies, regulated companies behind it, right? They um, they are not bound by any country's laws or rules and regulations. If US want to impose, let's say, compliance on blockchain, the BTC, for instance, should have been blocked right from the beginning. Bitnest does not belong to any country. It doesn't belong to any jurisdiction. It is a platform that generates. So it's just like saying people who build tokens on bond curve and say every day or every 2 days is going to increase by this percentage in price, and which is fixed, are breaking certain rules. So unfortunately or fortunately for us, this has no owner to be prosecuted. This has no offices or company for centralized authorities to run about. So it doesn't need to conform to any rules, not even the rules of the United States of America. Now, thank you, Robert. I I appreciate your comment. Yes, I believe with time, we'll keep building it up. I believe in also giving out a lot of information. I want my people to be properly informed about what they are getting themselves involved into, and that is what I am just here to do. So thank you for that. But then at this point, please, if you have any questions, you want to raise your hand. Okay, very good question. Very good question. Now, let me talk about how I'll come to you, iPhone. I wish I know your name. The question about will Bitness last forever? That's an interesting question. I'll surely do justice to it. But let me come to the other part of Mr. Herbert Mensah's question. Please, how is the setup done? That's a good question. Now, to be able to set up, you need a Web3 wallet. I would recommend, what's the name? Either SafePal or Token Pocket. I think Token Pocket is better. Get SafePal or Token Pocket and then create an account. Just create a free crypto account with them. And then make sure you fund, okay, Rima, I'll come to you. Paul, please, I'll come to you soon. Make sure you fund this with the USDT you wish to put into use here, and then get back to whoever told you about this opportunity to get a link from him. He'll give you a special invitation link. You get a link, take it to the browser of your, of your wallet, paste it there, connect your wallet, and that is it. You are good to run. There are a few videos on on how to do that in our various groups, and that will help. Now, let me come to iPhone before I come to Paul. iPhone asked me a very important question. He says, Mr. Jerry, will Bitness stay forever? Wow. I wish I have answers to this. I unfortunately do not have answers to that. I want to be very honest with you. But then what I rather see is I see the beginning of a whole ecosystem that hasn't even been fully built yet. What I mean is that if you look at the roadmap I should have shown that video on this call. You look at what is coming next, you realize that the journey hasn't even started. And of course, as long as people will continue to lend and borrow money, or people will be interested in taking what we call, easy crypto loans and willing to put their capital down, and they still keep coming to Bitness, I want to see Bitness running for a very long time. I had similar doubts from the beginning, and I sat watched it grow over 1 year before I decided to join. I have joined, and I'm also about to hit another 1 year, and somebody will also come and also be asking. And I wish I just have what it takes to say either yes or no to that question. Now let me come to Paul. Paul, please. Let me ask you to.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Good evening.
Good evening, bro.
Okay. Paul is the name from Nigeria.
Okay, bro.
What an amazing presentation! I must commend you for doing justice to Bitnest.
Thank you, my
Web3.
brother.
Okay, I really appreciate it, and I thank God that I joined this meeting. My question is almost the same thing I wanted to ask the. I think you've answered that already. I wanted to ask if Bitnest will stay till when Christ comes. So answered that already. I also want to ask, from the way you're sounding, it looks like something that is a perfect system that may not be having issues at all in the future. Is that what you're telling us?
Okay,
Because
thank you so much.
I don't really know much about how Bitness works, but I think I have gotten a fair knowledge of Bitness, how it works now, and I think I can
Okay,
ask the community to invest in it.
thank you.
Okay, now
Thank you so much.
can we
Okay, so
so that we can be getting more info?
okay, okay. So now, I will still maintain. Thank you, my brother. I will still maintain. I wish I have that magic, magic ball to be able to tell how long this will stay. But what I'm saying is, based on all what we have available, and based on the fact that there's an aspect of the Bitness smart contract that does not allow it to be oversubscribed. In fact, in my early hours or in my early days when I joined the community, I had to actually learn from the big guys in there. I remembered I took on one of these big leaders and I was asking highly technical questions. And he told me that, look, read this part of the smart contract. It says that if, let's say, we have a liquidity of $34 million as of this evening, let me be sure I'm quoting the right thing. Coming, yes. So we have a liquidity of about $34 million. And then let's say you have chance, you think you have chance on a better system, then you decide to put in, let's say, 10 billion. Now, before your 10 billion will be accepted, the amount we have in the liquidity pool should be able to take care of whatever commission or interest you are supposed to get at the end of your tenure, and the respective commissions that will come out of that particular loop will be taken care of from the liquidity pool. If not, the pool or the smart contract will not accept your deposit. And according to him, they tried that in the early stages when the liquidity pool was less, and those contracts were rejected because they were putting in an amount that the contract cannot cater for. If, judging by that claim, is something to go by, what it simply means is that the system will not take on something it cannot provide for. And in the worst case scenario, everybody will end up taking out their money, and the smart contract will run, or the liquidity pool will run to zero, and that will bring no more life. But then, as long as people will continue to engage, and here is another interesting thing. Today we are talking about what? $34 million. Next month, we could be talking about $40 million, $50 million, based on the historical growth of this. Now, my question is this: how do they get it right to pay people 24% monthly, pay out commission structure all the way to level 17, and then at the end of the day still have so much left over that goes to add up to the liquidity pool to pave way for bigger intakes on the contract? I believe that is what we should all be concerned about. And I believe that I see Bitnest, personally, I see Bitnest having a longer lifespan ahead of it than we have even crossed so far. I think the future is yet to begin. We haven't reached anywhere at all yet. Thank you. Let me come back to the next question before we leave. So Dr. Consti wants me to ask you, but Mr. Paul, are you sure you yourself gonna stay till Christ comes? The Titanic was voted out of, boasted of that it will never be able to sing. It did. There are other things that do not measure up to Titanic. Yeah, they are still alive, they are still live and strong, etc. And of course, Dr. Consti is only saying that we do not have the crystal ball. I cannot sit here and tell you that, look, Bitnest will run till thy kingdom come. I'm being dishonest. All I can tell you is that Bitnest is really safe as it is, and it is something you should involve yourself in. And for my followers, for instance, those who followed me right from February when I brought Bitnest up and say, guys, let's jump on, let's do it. I keep stressing on the need to reward yourself, right? The need to always is the number one rule, actually, in forex trading, in crypto trading, in everything you do, even in physical business. The first point you are looking out for is what we call the break-even point, right? No matter how secure it is, no matter how profitable it looks like, always try to break even, right? Take your original capital, put it somewhere, and then now use, the interest, the pure interest, where you are going risk-free. That's why we set, break-even point on forex and all that. Once you break even and you know that, oh, if this trade goes against me, I'm still not going to lose my money because I've already, covered that. Then you are free to risk the trade to go on and on and on. So yeah, I would still encourage everybody to cultivate the habit of paying yourself. It is good to have the long-term plan, but always make sure you balance it and find a fine tune from what we call long term, and then also breaking even which is the best way to look at some of these things. Any other questions, please? You want to raise your hand? I give you a chance. So we proceed. If not, okay, one more question. Okay, Derek, my man. Good evening to you. Please unmute your mic and let's
Good,
hear from
good evening, good evening. Wonderful, wonderful as usual. So, Jerry, as
you.
you know, you and I, are, we like to do deep investigation on these things and
Definitely.
so forth. Yeah, and so forth. So now that I live in the U.S., right, and in this particular jurisdiction, they have a guard or a net over certain words that are used. For example,
Yes.
investments,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
like anybody else to use that word because that is their baby in the United States. And when people use that word,
They
they
come after them.
yes, raise a red flag and comes upon them. Um, uh, as it relates to that, for us living here, in the U.S., should the powers to be say, okay, I'm gonna slap you on your wrist because you're using this verbiage, and I'm gonna shut you down or whatever. How would you navigate through that?
Okay, I think that's an important question. And first of all, maybe the worst that can happen to, unfortunately, to our friends in the US is maybe when the US government says, I don't like Bitness, I don't want Bitness to have access, any of their sites to have access to us here in this country. The worst that will happen is at the end of your contract expiration, these funds are definitely going to hit your wallet anyway, and once it comes back to you, you may not be able to interact with the site of course, we've seen other projects where they don't have access in certain jurisdictions, and people from that zones are not allowed to participate based on how they see it. But then looking at how business put or present their opportunity. I think I do not see authorities coming after them. you know, First of all, yes, they say we are using, of course, thankfully too, we have a president in power who actually supports blockchain and embraces all what it comes with, including some of these opportunities that it comes with, right? For instance, who would have believed that a sitting president of the United States will issue his own token? In the years past, when you say that, it's almost equal to blasphemy. They will tell you this, it is simply not possible for the sitting president of the United States to issue a token. Despite all the regulations, he's still doing more and more of his token, family related tokens are coming to the market. So thankfully, we have somebody in power who okay, iPhone wants to ask one more question. Please give me 1 minute. Let me attend to him, asking what is the percentage and for how long. So iPhone, it looks like you joined the call late. The percentages varies based on how long you want to put it. We have 7 days contract. We have 1 day contract that gives you 0.4%. So let's say in I put $100 down for 1 day. At the end of the day, it comes out after 24 hours with 100.4. If I put it for 7 days, I have 104, making $4 extra. If I put it for 14 days, it gives me 9.5% extra. And then if you have 28 days, you have 24% returns. And you decide, it's your money, you are the boss, you decide how or where you want it. Let me also say that we also have the savings box, which actually gives a flat 0.4% daily. The difference between these two is that one, the saving box, you can opt out of the contract anytime. If you take, let's say, the loop for 7 days, once you commit your funds to it, it doesn't come back until after 7 days. Even if you have an emergency, 2 hours after floating the money, you cannot go back in there and take it out. And there are no support who have access to stop the contract, no interference at all. It comes only after 7 days. But when you take the savings box, it gives you flat rate of 0.4%. It may sound small, but it adds up to about 12% in a whole month, which is still better than what others will give you after several years of storing your money and all. So the difference is that here you can put in the money today and claim it the next minute. That's fair. Each time you need your money, you can actually claim it, and in seconds it hits your wallet. You don't need to wait for any approval or anything. You don't pay any fees. It just hits your wallet as easy as it is. So now coming back to you, my friend Derek, the worst the US government can do is to say, I don't want my people to participating in Bitnest. And then when your loop ends, you may not be able to have access to the site again. But your funds and your interest will always come back to you as long as the node is up and running on the chain.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation, Jerry, based on that, because uh, as you have so stated eloquently, that your transaction affair is happening on the blockchain. So the blockchain will never be disconnected.
Exactly.
And right. And so your funds are going to automatically recycle and be deposited into your Web3 wallet. So your money is
Yes.
safe under all circumstances. Now, as it relates to if the US government would block, put a filter on the IP address that connects to this front end, then,
Yeah.
persons, I've seen that before, but persons can always, mask that and use a VPN to still get into the platform if they so
Yeah.
desire. So, so,
Yeah.
so I guess the important thing is to make sure, or the concern rather would be to make sure that our money is safe should in case the IP address get blocked. And that's a good thing based on how this contract is set up. My last point, Jerry, and I vacate the premises,
Right.
is this, right? I think you have already addressed this in previous encounters, but I want you to just hit on this again so folks can understand, because there are still narratives that saying, hey, anything that you see that have a fixed percent, it's a scam. Run away
Yeah.
from it. It is,
Yeah.
and people are saying that to scare people up because people don't have the education, or they don't
Yeah.
wish to educate themselves to debunk that theory, which is not true. Can you please address that?
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you so much for drawing my attention again. So yes, here's my argument, right? If I take money from you and then I loan it out to people who provide security or collateral to cover whatever they promise to pay back, and then I charge them fixed 1.5%. I am putting your money to work and I am charging 1.5% on it. What prevents me from being able to say, because my business model allows me to make 1.5% on your money, right? I want to give you 0.85%. Out of the 1.5% I take, I just give you, it depends on the model. And again, it is just one of those school of thought. Just like in when we're growing up, they say what, go to school, make a good grades. When you graduate, you have a good and better life. I completed school since I finished my what we call here the national service in 2011, and I have never tasted what they call salary. I don't know how it feels like, right? It is that same educational system that is trying to tell you that whenever somebody tells you something is fixed, it's scam. Okay, now let me throw back the fire on them. My bank tells me if I put my money into treasury bills, they're going to pay me 5%, 10%. That is also fixed. So if what others are saying is fixed and it is scam, then the biggest scam, the oldest of all those scams, are the banks. They are also promising fixed deposits where you put your money down and you also earn fixed amount of it. So the issue is this: a lot of people say, if people say they are trading and they give you fixed returns and they don't know the outcome of the trade, let's say I am a forex trader and we know there are ups and downs in forex trading. So if I say I am trading forex and I want to give you 1%, 2%, then this question becomes valid. The big question will be, what about on a day when you don't make 1%? What about the days when you make losses? How do you manage to still keep up the 1%? And that is when this conversation becomes relevant. But not where I have a fixed flow of, income, where I know for sure I'm putting your money to work. And aside the 1.5% I make, I also use the excess funds in my account to provide liquidity on Pancake Swap, which I earn commission, I earn rewards and all that, which is convertible to money. And I've managed the business model for so long, and I cannot give you 0.5, 0.8%, 0.4%. Let's analyze that narrative again, my brother. Thank you so much, and that's a good question. Thank you for your contribution as well.
Absolutely, Jerry, and I'm finished. So again, folks, you need to educate yourself. Know what model you are in and what you're talking about. If we were trading crypto up and down,
Exactly.
then giving you a 1% consistently would be questionable. But over here, that
Exactly.
is not what we are doing. So when people tell you these stories or these narratives, you need to investigate them and know for yourself how to address those concerns. Thank you, Jerry.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much. Now let me come to Mev. Mev, good evening and good afternoon to you based on your location. Good to have you in the house. Please, it's your turn now. May I have your concerns?
Yeah, yes, sir. Great presentation as always.
Thanks, my
Nice
brother.
job done.
Yes, sir.
Derek already answered my question though, cause I hear you guys but I think what Derek was doing is basically asking the question so he could
Okay.
help other peoples who don't understand. You already answered the question about the US, cause I'm living in the US too, so I know it's kind of hard for them to block out people out of anything that they want to do because of we have VPN and we have access to VPN. You can pay for a VPN and get the access of it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but they already answered the question. Marvelous job, Derek, as always.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Good job.
And
Yeah.
I was just about to say Jamaican living in New York, I just remember that song, man. Anyway, thank you.
But
Thank
it's a
you.
wonderful business, man. I can't wait to get on board. I'm stocking up something to get on board. Cause,
I can't wait to have you on board
yeah,
too,
yeah. I'm so anxious right now. I think I'm going to start with about a 500 because I can't wait any longer until the money
That's
ready.
it. That's it. No matter how small, just get
Yeah.
moving, man. Join this
And
train, let's make money.
I like that breakdown you did earlier on with that, that showing the smallest amount you can all access the account with.
You know,
So
you know.
for those who scared and don't want to put big money up there, they can actually start small.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. All right,
but
bro. Thanks.
but when it
Thanks
come
for
on to
that.
risk, yeah, when it come on to taking risk, man, you have to you guys got to be hoping about taking risks, because life is designed like that. Without risk, you'll never grow. You'll never grow. I
Yes,
take so much risk in my life that trust me, I'm not scared of nothing right now, to be honest.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Especially
because I
when it
know,
is
yeah,
sensible risk like Bitnest. I want to take this
yep.
risk over and over again, man. And I'm glad
And
the day I said yes to Bitnest. I told people back then that I don't see this thing cooling off anytime soon. Jump on board
yeah,
with me, let's move. And today, look at us. We've already broken even. We're in so much profit. I have a large, huge team, on Bitness, and you really want to see the blessing this is pouring on us right now here in this part of the world. And I'm so excited. I said yes. So if you are listening to me, say yes to. Let's join this board and push it, man. You don't want to miss out on this. It's a whole revolution happening right now in the financial space.
so let me ask you something. How do I get the money into SafePal? Because I know I can't buy coins from Safe. Oh, I think Derek just said it. Derek, when
Ah,
you finish with the call, hook me up, Derek.
Derek will take care of you. As long as Derek is there,
Yeah,
you have no issue
yeah,
at all to worry about.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Hook me up when you finish, Derek.
Okay.
Yes, yes, definitely. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are few questions here in the group. I'd like to take it before we call it a night. Somebody says, what percentage do you earn when capital? I think I've dealt with that. What percentage for you and how long? No. Okay, I think that those has been taken care of. And thank you so much, guys, for being part of this meeting. Let's do this again next week. Bring your friends, your colleagues, your prospects. Let's break this info down. Okay, next week I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to delve deeper into the blockchain. I'll take you to PancakeSwap. Let's see the activities on the PancakeSwap. Let's see how much they generate, whether indeed they are providing liquidity, and how much they have generated so far, how much liquidity are they providing, how big and relevant is their services on the liquidity pool, on PancakeSwap. Next week, we're going to delve into that. Also, next week, I'm going to walk you through some securities, safety tips on how to stay safe. I will also take you through the new updates on the interface on Bitnest. I should have done that earlier, but forgive me. The purpose of this meeting is just to talk to our prospect. I didn't want to bother them. But next week, I'll switch it up a bit. Then the following week, I'll tone it down back to what we've had today. On this note, if there are no other questions, I would like to say, yes, please, there are recordings on my YouTube channel. Let me drop the link to the channel now so you can actually access it and have access to this live present. In fact, we're streaming live as we speak now on YouTube. Yes, my channel. Please subscribe. Help a brother subscribe and follow us. Let's keep this journey live and alive. Thank you so